Strength training for cyclists. What should you do in the gym to get a benefit on your bike, and how do you make the most of your time?
In this video, we're going to tell you with the help of top sports physiologist Professor Bent Rønnestad. But we're also going to give you 2 reasons why strength training might not be for you.
The potential benefits from strength training are improvements to your power output from 1 minute all the way through to 1 hour, and then also, of real importance, your fatigue resistance. So that's your ability to maintain your best power outputs even after several hours of riding.
Shall we go old school and call it endurance?
I think we should. Now, there are lots and lots of ways to do gym training. There are lots of ways to do gym training for cycling. It might be that you have something that you do already that you feel really works.
Perhaps plyometrics, like jumping.
Or core work. But as far as we can tell from the scientific research, the only studies that show a clear benefit, and those that are looking at large enough groups of people for the results to be meaningful, are the ones that show that the only gym work that works for cyclists is heavy strength training, so lifting weights. That is what we're going to concentrate on.
The 4 key exercises from the research are as follows: squat, one-leg press, calf raise, and hip flex. We are going to let you know how to properly perform these exercises, as well as giving you some alternatives so you can mix it up a bit and experiment with what might work for you. Then later in the video, we'll let you know how many reps, how many sets, and how often you should be doing it.
Yeah, before we start though, here's the public health warning. Lots of people will tell you about the risks that can come from strength training regarding injury. So it would definitely be a good idea before cracking on with any of this to get some help from a qualified trainer just to make sure that your technique is right, and maybe do some conditioning work before you crack on.
First up, warm up. You really want to get both your muscles and your brain ready for what's to come. Now, this is something I've been learning about over the last year, and the general consensus amongst experts in resistance training appears to be that you can warm up by doing the exercises you're about to do.
There's a significant difference though, in that in the warm-up set, you use 50% or less of the weight you'll be using in your working sets.
So for example, on this, the one-legged press, if I'm aiming to do 100 kilograms in my working set, I'll choose 50 kilograms like I've got on now, or less, and start with 15 reps. And during those reps, it's really important to do them slowly and get that full range of motion that you're going to be doing later on. And this should be enough with 15 reps to get those muscles warmed up. But if you want to go the extra step, what you can then do is put on your planned working set weight, which for me would be 100 kilograms on this, and then do 2 reps where again, you're really concentrating on the full range of motion and activating the connection between your mind and your muscles. After which, bit of rest, you're ready to start.
Given that a lot of these exercises are recruiting similar muscles though, you only really need to do this warm-up once, not before every exercise. Save for perhaps the calf raise. First up, a squat. Done correctly, squats work your glutes, hamstrings and quads, and can really help to increase mobility in your hips and ankles too. It's really important in all these exercises to start with a low weight and really nail the technique. This will help you get the most out of the exercise and minimize the risk of injury. With this barbell squat, we'd recommend starting with the bar alone, no added weights. Depending on ankle and hip mobility, as well as leg to trunk proportions, you may need to raise your heels with an object in order to squat deep enough without toppling backwards. On the rack, place your shoulders under the bar and place your grip equidistant on either side. There are normally some marks on the bar to check this, and also put them a little wider than shoulder width. Brace your core, keep your back and ribs as straight above your pelvis as you can, plant your feet firmly on the floor and lift the bar off the rack. Take a step back, put your feet shoulder width apart, brace your core again, breathe into your stomach, and then slowly dip. Concentrate on maintaining that strong straight spine by engaging your core. Pause briefly at the bottom, then push the bar directly upwards, concentrating on recruiting your glutes and quads as you do so, and maintaining that neutral position for your spine. At the top, breathe out, pause, breathe in, and go again. Start with a few weeks of 3 sets of high reps, 15 to 20 or more, and then once you've dialed your technique, you can start to increase the weight and lower your reps. Squat University have some fantastic online tutorials to ensure you're getting the technique dialed.
Next up, the one-legged press or single leg press using a dedicated leg press machine. You can do both legs at once, but the single leg will highlight any imbalances you have and also work your stabilizing muscles more. Again, start with a small weight that you can move easily. Put your feet on the platform shoulder width apart and then put one leg on the floor. Push the rack up, stopping when your knee is still slightly bent, and then release the safety catch. Slowly move your leg back, stopping at the point where you feel your heel is about to leave the platform. Pause and then drive your leg against the platform, keeping your foot planted solidly at all times. And then stop before your leg is fully extended. Then repeat. Just like the squats and all the exercises, in fact, you want to concentrate on a controlled movement that really recruits your glutes and quads. Note that the higher your foot is on the platform, the more you'll recruit your glutes. The lower it is, the more it'll target your quads. Just make sure your heel is always the driving force and doesn't leave the platform. An alternative to the single leg press, if you don't have access to a gym, is a simple step up onto a box or platform. Start with your own body weight and only progress using dumbbells or kettlebells when you've dialed your technique.
There are many ways to perform a calf raise. Some gyms have specific machines to target the calves, but you can also use the leg press machine. Again, you can do both at the same time or target single leg. Push the platform up with your feet firmly on it and then move one foot down so that just under half of it is still on the platform. Put the other leg on the floor and then allow the weight to come back towards you in a controlled manner with your knee slightly bent, and then, while maintaining that leg position, push the weight away with your upper foot. Pause, then repeat. Try to get a full range of motion with every rep, but make sure you stop if experiencing any joint pain. As an alternative, you can also use a bench, putting the front part of your foot on a weight on the floor and then putting a dumbbell on top of your knee, raising and lowering your heel with your knee at a right angle. You could also do this standing, and for most people, body weight alone will provide enough resistance in this form of the exercise.
Hip flexors are an often overlooked muscle for cyclists and many other sports people too, in fact, but it's important not to ignore them. Strengthening them will often relieve any back pain you're experiencing, for example. One of the simplest exercises uses bands like these. Place one over both feet and then lie back on a mat. Engage your core, making sure that your lower back isn't too arched, and then bring one foot up towards you, keeping your other leg straight on the ground. Pull your leg up until your thigh is a little less than 90 degrees with your trunk, and then control the movement as you lower it back to the starting position. After the required amount of reps, you can switch legs. You can also use a cable machine for this if your gym has enough room, lying in the same position with an ankle strap around your foot, or you can stand on a platform and raise a kettlebell.
And finally, the Bulgarian split squat. I dread this exercise at the gym because it pushes me so hard, but it's a very potent exercise for your legs. Sit on a bench and put one leg straight in front of you with your heel on the floor. Keeping the heel there, move forward until your whole foot is on the floor. Tilting your trunk forward to maintain balance, place your other foot on the bench behind you, and then, with your upper body straight, gradually lower yourself to the ground. Some people can get their knee down onto the floor, but you should only dip to the point of a good stretch. Pause at the lowest point and then drive your leading leg into the ground, concentrating on recruiting your glute and quad until you're back in your upright position. Pause again and then repeat. A more vertical trunk position will place more emphasis on the quads, whilst if you lean the trunk forward slightly, it will focus more on the hips and glutes. Again, you can start this exercise with just your own body weight, but as you progress, you can add a dumbbell or kettlebell on each hand, or hold a single kettlebell to your chest. Squat University also have some great examples of this exercise on their channel. And a great way to learn all of these exercises is to film yourself performing them and then compare to the tutorials online.
In terms of how to structure a session, let's hear from Professor Rønnestad.
So our standard recommendation is 3 sets and start. And if you have 2 sessions per week, the first 3 weeks, you can have like 8 reps, 1 session, repetition maximum approximately. And then 10 or 11 the next session, so slightly different between those two sessions. And thereafter, the next 3-4 weeks, gradually reduce the number of repetitions. So then maybe it can be like 6 and 8 repetitions for those 2 days, and then maybe 4 and 6 for the last 4 weeks. And then you have done like a 3-month cycle. And then probably you have got to a decent level, and then it depends. Maybe you want to go in like a maintenance phase with only 1 strength training sessions per week, and then really focus on the endurance stuff before the race season kicks off.
Okay then, so 4-week blocks where you are increasing the weight and decreasing the reps. I'd separate those blocks with like a week in between, maybe where you could do a little bit more high intensity on the bike.
One of the first things that you're probably going to notice is that you start to get really, really tired.
Yeah, and really, really sore.
And really, really grumpy.
Yeah. Although that should ease in a few weeks, where the grumpiness is still there with you.
It's been just over a year for me. I'm hoping after 3 years it might have calmed down a bit. And now you should be able to tolerate these strength and resistance training sessions around your normal on-the-bike training. However, do bear in mind that if you've got a particularly intensive cycle training to do, you might not want to do your strength training too close before that. And then when you're coming towards your peak objectives, what you want to do really well at, you want to go down to like a maintenance phase, so maybe 1 session of strength and resistance per week, so that you're at your best on the bike when you want to be.
Yeah, don't do 2 strength sessions the week before the Grand Fondo.
Although it could be an extra excuse if you don't do as well as you hoped.
It'd be a great excuse. To help your newfound strength translate onto the bike, Professor Rønnestad advises adding in some sprint training to your riding, which definitely can't hurt.
Can't hurt, can it? As for who should benefit, well, there's not enough research to say specifically, but in theory, everybody should.
Yeah, but not everyone should necessarily do it.
So if you are like implementing like 4 exercises for the legs, for lower body, and that's about it, and then you using like 30-40 minutes on the strength training session twice a week, I think it should be doable. But of course, it depends how. If you are only having 3 days of training per week, then I would not recommend using 2 of those for strength training, of course, if the aim is to be a better cyclist. So it also depends on the setting. General master cyclists, if going in the gym is something that he or she hate, then I don't recommend it for sure. But if they find this fun and something other than they are used to, and be kind of motivated of it, for sure, give it a shot. And also, I think it's important to do as little as necessary, just to stress that, because cycling is the most important training to become a good cyclist. But if you are like doing 3 cycling sessions per week, and you have the possibility to just getting like 30-40 minutes of strength training twice a week in addition, and you are curious on that, I would give it a shot and make my own experience on it.
So there we go. If you don't enjoy it and your career doesn't depend on it, don't do it. But heavy strength training definitely seems like a good thing to do if you are able to.
Also, you don't need to do 2 sessions per week every single week of the year, but that is probably a good starting point if you want to.
Yeah. Right then, I'd be super interested to hear your experiences of strength training. What exercises do you do and which ones have you found most beneficial?
And if you'd like to comment on the techniques of me and Si, you probably already have earlier in the video. We're going to get annihilated, I think.
Yeah, we are. It's starting to get a bit burny now.
2 lots of 10 kilograms on each side is going to look huge.
Are you going to say stop, Liam, or are you just going to watch?
I'll wobble on that one. One sec.